Tonight, we're not just telling a story. We're stepping into a world where fire didn't just destroy homes. It devoured identities. It burned the names off of tombstones. It swallowed time. You don't know it yet, but today. This day will echo through time like a scream trapped in smoke. You will be remembered, not by what you saved, but by what you couldn't. Now close your eyes. Let go of the glowing screen in your hand. Let go of asphalt roads and blinking lights. Let go of your name, your calendar, your carbon monoxide detectors. The air shifts. The light hits you strangely. It's amber, flickering, like candlelight filtered through ash. You wake up in the year 1666. You're barefoot. Your breath clouds in the September air. The smell hits you first. Wood smoke, coal dust, and something worse. Burnt meat. You are a shopkeeper's apprentice, barely 17, living above a bakery in a narrow alleyway of Pudding Lane. The wood of your attic creaks beneath your weight. The beams above you groan in the wind. You're wrapped in a thin wool blanket. Your fingers cracked from labor. Your lungs still stinging from yesterday's coal dust. You don't know it yet, but tonight history will erase your name and everyone around you. Let the day begin. You rise with the sun, but the sun doesn't rise gently. It bleeds. The sky is a bruised pink. Thick clouds hang low over London, trapping the smoke and stench of the city. Your breath tastes like soot. Below your room, the baker, your master, shouts at his son for over-kneading the dough again. They don't know what's festering in the walls behind the oven. The coals never cooled from last night. You step out onto the narrow timber balcony. The air is too quiet. No bird song, just coughing somewhere down the alley. London is a cage made of wood and whispers. The houses lean toward each other like conspirators. The upper floors almost touch. So close a child could leap from one side to the next. You smell tallow candles burning in the house next door. You hear a baby crying 3 doors down. You scratch at a flea bite on your wrist and watch the city stir. You don't notice the first spark. It's still dark when it happens. Maybe it was the wood pile too close to the oven. Maybe a rat knocked over a candle. Maybe it was fate, or God, or nothing at all. But somewhere, in the silence, a crack, a pop, then a roar. Fire moves faster than memory. The bakery erupts. You're halfway down the ladder when you see it. Orange light blooming like a second sun from below your floorboards. Heat slaps your face like a living thing. Screams rise from the alley like steam. You freeze, not because you're brave, because your mind has no word for this. Fire, you know. But this is something else. This is hunger. It races up the staircase. It tastes the lint in your mattress. It snaps up your books, your clothes, your past. You run down twisted stairs slick with soot, past children screaming for their mothers, past a man throwing a bucket of ale on flames that don't care. You run. But this is London, and London doesn't make it easy. The streets are narrow, the roofs too close. Every house is made of timber and pitch, 1,000 candles waiting to become a funeral. You burst into the main street, and the world is already burning. The wind whips the flames sideways. Sparks leap from rooftop to rooftop like cursed angels. The fire isn't just spreading, it's hunting. People are dragging carts of bedding and prayer books. Someone screams that St. Paul's Cathedral is on fire. Someone else says it's the Catholics or the Dutch. or witches, or God. You don't know what to believe. But the sky is the color of blood. You cover your mouth with your sleeve. The smoke claws at your throat. You turn back just once to look at the bakery. Your room is gone. And then you hear it, the sound that will never leave you. Timber breaking. It sounds like bones snapping. It sounds like heaven falling. A nearby inn collapses into itself. A fiery mouth swallowing the last screams inside. You want to run to them. You don't. You can't, because the fire is turning, and it's looking for you next. You run again, but something has already changed inside you. You don't run like a boy now. You run like a survivor, like someone who understands that London is dying and taking pieces of you with it. You dodge a man whose beard is on fire. You shove past a woman carrying a crucifix in one hand and a child in the other. You see a line of people passing buckets and another man looting candlesticks from a church. Morality bends in firelight. There are no rules anymore, only flame and ash and breath. And somewhere, far away, King Charles sleeps in Whitehall. He doesn't know. Not yet. Tomorrow, he'll order the houses to be torn down with hooks and gunpowder. Tomorrow, the fire will cross the Thames. Tomorrow, your name will disappear. But for now, it is still today. And today will echo through time. Before your eyes fully open, something burns your nose. It's thick, oily, and bitter. The kind of smell that feels like it's crawling up your throat. Not just smoke, but smoke mixed with sweat, mold, sour milk, and something worse. The smell of too many people living too close to death. Your eyelids flutter open. The light is dim and yellow, leaking through warped glass. It's not morning sun. It's candlelight. From someone else's window, just across the alley. Close enough to whisper to, if the panes were open. You slept in your clothes again. Your tunic is twisted around your chest, soaked in sweat. Your hands ache from kneading dough for hours yesterday. Cracked knuckles lined with flour dust and blood. You feel older than you are. And still, you're one of the lucky ones. You slept on wood, not straw. In a room, not under a cart. Your blanket may reek of mildew, but at least it's warm. Still, something is off. Your throat is raw. Your eyes sting. Your body feels like it's been slow cooked in its own sweat. You shift to sit upright, and the creaking of the wooden floor beneath you sounds unnaturally loud. Like the house itself is complaining. You freeze. Above you, the beams groan. Not from wind. There is no wind. The city air is dead still. Too still. Your breath catches. You smell it again. That thick, sour scent. Something burning, but not clean, like firewood. No, something oily, charred, rotten, animal. You shuffle to the window. Your legs feel heavy, like they belong to someone else. The floor beneath your feet is warm, too warm. You hesitate. Press your hand to the wood. It's sweating. The heat is rising from below, but the oven always runs. You tell yourself that. The bakery never sleeps. The loaves need to rise by dawn. Your master keeps the coals alive through the night. Still, today, it feels wrong. Like the fire's moved closer to you. Like it's breathing with you. You unlatch the warped window. It sticks. When it finally gives, the world doesn't greet you. It slaps you. The air outside is worse. A narrow view of a narrower street. Timber houses packed shoulder to shoulder, shutters half closed, wet linens hanging limp in the morning fog, chimney smoke bleeding into the sky without wind to carry it away. And below that, a deeper rot, fish guts in the gutter, dog droppings on the stones, a bucket of human waste tipped from a second-story window hours ago, now puddled and steaming. You see it, smell it, almost taste it. You gag, and from somewhere nearby, a hacking cough. Not once, not twice. It doesn't stop. A man's cough, sharp and deep. Then a child's, wheezing like a dying bellows. Then something else, a woman retching, the sound of phlegm hitting wood. You've heard that cough before. London calls it the rattle. People say it comes just before the body gives up. The neighbor in the next house had it last week. He hasn't come down since. You don't ask. No one does. The city knows how to keep secrets, especially the ones that scream. You pull on your boots. They're still damp from yesterday's rain. There's a hole in the sole. It squishes when you step. You tie your hair back with a scrap of linen, wipe the soot from your eyes, and descend. The stairs groan beneath your weight. Every step is louder than the last. The banister is sticky with kitchen grease. On the second floor you pass the apprentice's room. Empty. He left last week to join his brother's candle shop in Southwark. Smart. The front room smells of yeast and ash. Dozens of loaves sit cooling on cloth-lined trays. Some misshapen, some perfect. None of them yours. Not yet. You're not trusted with baking. Not after last time. The baker's wife sleeps upright in a wooden chair, arms folded, bonnet slipping sideways. A candle flickers on the sill behind her. Her breathing is slow. Almost too slow. She mutters something in her sleep. It's not a prayer. Maybe a name. Maybe yours. You push the front door open. London hits you like a sickness. The air is hot, thicker than it should be, like breathing through wool. You gag again, but you don't stop. If you pause too long, someone will notice. Noticing leads to questions. Questions lead to punishment. You step outside, and the city swallows you. The alley is barely wide enough for a cart. The walls seem to lean inward, like the houses are whispering to one another above your head. Wooden beams stained black with decades of smoke. Moss between the cobbles. Rat tails vanish into holes beneath doorsteps. A boy squats in the gutter, carving something with a shard of broken glass. He doesn't look up. A girl in rags walks past you barefoot, carrying a bucket of water that sloshes onto her skirt. She doesn't blink. You hear the clanging of bells from a church tower in the distance. Not for celebration. The fire watchers are changing shifts. They know what season this is. Dry beams, overcrowded rooms, one wrong candle, one careless cook, one spark. You pass a meat stall just setting up. Fly-covered cloth pulled back to reveal dark cuts of beef gone gray at the edges. The butcher stands barefoot in the blood, drinking something thick and warm from a clay cup. He nods at you. You nod back, not out of politeness, out of fear. Everyone in the city is a potential witness or a future ghost. You keep walking. Smoke drifts across the road. Not from a fire, just the street. It's always smoking. From ovens, from hearths, from breathing. London never stops smoldering. You reach the bakery's back entrance, the delivery side. Already a line is forming. A priest, a widow, a ragged boy holding a few dirty coins in his palm. They want bread, but bread isn't ready. The oven is still warming. The dough is still rising. You feel the heat pulsing through the walls. It's stronger now, almost throbbing. Something is wrong. You glance up. A dark shape moves behind the upstairs window. Maybe the master. Maybe something else. You hesitate. The widow asks when the bread will come. You don't answer. Your hand brushes against the stone wall beside you. It's hot. Your breath catches. For a moment, the world is too still. The birds are gone. The breeze is gone. The sky hangs above like a closed curtain, ready to drop. And somewhere, behind you, something creaks. Not wood, not a cartwheel. Something older, deeper, a groan from the bones of the street. You turn. Nothing. Just smoke in the distance. Just the fire. Waiting to wake up. Your first task, stay alive long enough to reach midday. Not to thrive, not to grow, just to survive. That's the price of living in London. And even that feels expensive. You wake up already tired. The bakery's floorboards still creak beneath your feet. The walls still weep with heat. The blanket you slept in is damp from your own sweat. You peel it off like dead skin. The day hasn't begun, but you already know. Today will not be kind. Your stomach growls loud enough to embarrass you, but no one's listening. Everyone's hungry here. The city itself feels hungry, like it could devour you just for blinking too long. You slip on your boots. One sole is cracked. You stuff straw inside to stop the stones from cutting you. The leather is stiff, soaked through from yesterday's rain, but you have no choice. Bare feet invite disease, and disease is always watching. Downstairs, the master's already barking orders. The oven's coals hiss and snap. Flour dust hangs thick in the air, ghostly, choking everywhere. You don't ask for food. You know better. Apprentices eat last, if there's anything left. Instead, you chew the inside of your cheek to trick your body into thinking there's something there. It doesn't work. It never does. You slip out before the real rush begins. The air outside is cold, but not fresh. Nothing in London is fresh. It smells of chamber pots, rotting thatch, spoiled onions, and fire. Always fire. The baker's token weighs in your palm, a small carved wooden disc with a crude mark etched into it. It might buy you water. If the cart hasn't run dry, you follow the sound of wheels grinding against stone. At the corner, the water boy waits. No older than you. Barefoot, red-eyed, silent. He dips a tin ladle into a barrel and hands it over. You don't look too closely. Floating things drift at the surface. A twig, a feather, something worse. You close your eyes and drink. It tastes like nails and wet rope. But it's wet. That's enough. The city moves around you like a machine held together by spit and rust. Barrows rattle past with sacks of coal. A man pulls a dead pig on a rope. Children run barefoot, shouting about ash and pennies. The streets are too narrow. The roofs lean inward. From above, it must look like a maze made by madmen. But down here, it feels more like a throat. And you're the thing being swallowed. Eyes follow you. Not out of curiosity, out of calculation. What do you have? Could it be taken? Could you be taken? A girl with missing teeth watches your boots. A man with the bent-back eyes your belt pouch. A drunkard murmurs a prayer as he stumbles past. But the words twist into curses as soon as you're behind him. You try to walk confidently. You've seen others do it, shoulders back, chin up, eyes focused on nothing. But inside, what if they notice I don't belong here? What if they know I'm just pretending to be one of them? You weren't born here. You don't speak with the same clipped vowels. Your clothes still carry the stitching of the village seamstress back home. The city knows. It always knows. You feel it in the way the cobblestones rise to trip you, in the way the smoke always seems to follow your path, in the way every shout feels aimed at your back. You duck into a side alley and find the boy with the candle stubs. He's squatting beside a dead rat, melting wax into a bowl made from a cracked skull. He offers you a half-burned taper for a bit of bread. You have neither. He shrugs, doesn't care. You walk on. Outside a chapel, a woman is kneeling in the street. Her hair is unbound. Her hands tremble. She's whispering to the stones. Beside her, a jar of ashes. Inside, maybe a husband, maybe a child. She weeps without sound. You keep your eyes forward. You don't stop. You don't look, because you've learned that pity is a luxury, and luxury is dangerous. You return to the bakery when the sun rises high enough to stain the sky gold. The heat inside hits you like a shove. The master's face is red from shouting. The younger apprentice is crying, but pretending he's not. The baker's wife is fanning the dough like it's royalty. You pick up a tray. You don't ask questions. You knead until your fingers bleed. You scrape the ash from the hearth. You wipe sweat from your eyes with the same sleeve that wipes the counter. The room smells like yeast, smoke, and anger. You work, because there's nothing else. No break, no pause, no praise. Work is its own reward and punishment. The loaves are misshapen today. The flour was damp. The air too hot. The master curses the fire. You wonder what happens if the fire curses back. By midday, you've been burned twice. Once on the wrist, once on the soul. Your legs ache. Your throat rasps. You still haven't eaten. But the hunger becomes background noise, like rats in the walls, always there, but no longer surprising. And then a flicker. That thought again. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe the gods made a mistake. You swallow it, hard, because no one in London has time for self-pity. You either stand or vanish. You grab another tray, move another sack, bite down the shaking in your arms. You do not stop. You do not speak, because if you stop, someone else will take your place, and you'll disappear, not with a scream, not with a name, just disappear. There's no room for weakness in this world, because even the gods are watching. And if they aren't, then the neighbors are. And if they aren't, then the fire is. You don't believe in everything, but you kneel anyway, because in London, ritual isn't faith, it's survival, a gesture, a whisper, a habit passed down like a curse. You don't ask why. You just don't forget. The bakery is hotter than ever. Ash cakes cling to the walls. The fire roars even when no one stokes it. The loaves you pull from the oven rise like swollen lungs, already cracking from the heat. The master's wife mutters something under her breath. You catch only fragments. Bread like this. The last time. The year before the rats. She doesn't finish the thought. She doesn't need to. She just presses a wooden token into your palm. Go. It's the Sabbath. And without another word, you're outside again. The air is worse now. The sun barely reaches through the thick low ceiling of smoke-stained sky. Everything looks dim, like the world is lit by memory instead of light. The bells begin. 1, 2. Each note slow and hollow, like a church yawning in its own grave. You join the stream of silent bodies filing toward the parish chapel. No one speaks, only feet moving over broken stones. Everyone wears their best, or rather, what was once their best: frayed sleeves, smudged lace, shoes that haven't seen polish since Easter. A woman walks beside you with her baby, swaddled in a black shawl. The infant doesn't cry, doesn't move. You don't ask. The church leans like it wants to fall. Its walls are blackened from old fires. Some say it burned during the last plague. Others say the devil slept in it once. No one agrees on its history, but no one questions its power. Inside, it smells like melted wax and sweat. The incense hits your eyes like smoke. You blink tears as you walk to your place on the floor. There are no pews, just splinters and rot. You kneel because everyone kneels, even those who can't stand. The altar glows gold, not from wealth, from flame. 100 thin candles flicker against the soot-covered stone. The priest is already there. He stands like a statue chipped from bone, thin, rigid, eyes so sunken they barely reflect the firelight. He does not greet you. He does not smile. He begins to speak, not of love, not of grace, but of punishment, of Noah's flood, of Babel's fall, of fire raining down from the heavens on the unworthy. He says this is a city fat with sin, that the Lord's patience is ash in his mouth. He doesn't name the fire. He doesn't need to. You feel it in your lungs, in your knees pressed against the splintered boards, in the sweat beating down your neck despite the cold. The girl beside you shivers. Her lips move without sound. A man near the wall keeps crossing himself, again and again, as if trying to erase something. And you try to listen, but your stomach growls, your head aches, and something inside you, something small and shaking, begins to whisper. Do they even hear us? Are we praying to smoke? Your hands tighten together. You look up at the candles. Their flames dance in a rhythm that feels wrong, too fast, too hungry, like they know something you don't. And that's when you remember what the baker's wife told you. Your first week in London. It was late. You were scrubbing burnt crust off the oven floor. She stood behind you, holding a candle that lit her face like a ghost's. She said, "You are not just a servant. You are the offering." You thought it was a joke or a threat, but now it feels like a prophecy. The priest lifts his hands. The crowd bows. You follow, because not following is dangerous, and because some part of you, the part that dreams in fog and remembers your mother's voice, wants to believe there's someone out there, someone who knows your name, someone who knows what you've done, what you've carried, how close you've come to breaking. You whisper a prayer you barely understand. Keep the fire away from my door. But deep down, you know the fire is already here. It's just waiting. After the service, no one lingers. They shuffle out into the ash-colored daylight. Eyes down, hands folded, voices locked behind their teeth. A child stares up at the sky, pointing at something. No one looks. You step outside. and the wind shifts. For the first time in hours, it moves. It carries with it something foul, something new. Character, grease, bone. You spin toward the east. Far off, past the steeples, past the crooked roofs, a faint orange glow flickers on the horizon. Smoke, real smoke. Not the ordinary kind that clings to chimneys and stew pots. This smoke moves like a thing alive, thicker, heavier. It climbs. You swallow hard. Your heart doesn't beat faster. It stops. Just for a moment. You whisper the line again, not because it will save you, but because it's all you have. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. You return to the bakery on shaking legs. No one greets you. The oven door hangs open. The fire inside looks brighter than before. The air smells like baking bread and something else. You stand at the threshold, unsure whether to step in. Your hands are still pressed together, not in prayer, just in fear, because something deep inside you knows. Tonight, more than one thing will burn. No law protects you. Only power does. You learn that the same way a stray dog learns not to bark at boots, by bleeding first. The master doesn't speak when you return. He just lifts his chin, and you know. Carry the loaves, deliver the bread. Don't drop anything, or don't come back. You lift the first tray, still warm. The cloth beneath it is damp with steam. Each loaf has been branded, the bakery's mark scorched deep into the crust. Proof of origin, proof of value, more than you can say for yourself. You step into the street again, now filled with movement and noise. Horse carts rattle through narrow lanes. Street vendors shout names of vegetables that barely resemble food. Children weave between skirts and knees, barefoot and fast. But when the governor's cart appears, everything stops. Even the wind seems to wait. He arrives with no warning, just the distant clatter of hooves, and then suddenly, he's there. Black cloak, tall hat, red sash, 2 armed guards on foot. One boy carrying a scroll he'll never read. The governor doesn't look at you. He doesn't have to. He smells of lavender and money. Even the air around him feels cleaner, like London holds its breath when he passes. The people step aside. Bakers, priests, butchers, beggars. Everyone shifts to make space for the weight of his silence. You do too. Your body moves before your mind decides. It's not respect. It's instinct. Someone shouts a blessing. Another mutters a curse. The cart rolls on. He leaves nothing behind but the memory of your place in the order. You keep walking. Your tray feels heavier now. Not because of the bread, because of what the bread means. You reach the first home, a tall house with a stone stoop and polished door. You knock. No answer. You wait. Then the maid opens it, sneering before she even sees your face. Late. You apologize. She doesn't care. She takes the tray, counts the loaves, presses a coin into your hand, and slams the door. The coin is warm from her fingers. You know better than to look at it now. You just moved to the next house. A boy at the corner is crying. His mother pleads with a butcher for a bone. The butcher shakes his head. Not enough fat on it, he says. Not worth the trade. She offers a hairpin, then a ring, then her silence. The butcher shrugs, hands her the bone. You pass by. You don't stop. Because in this part of London, fairness is fiction, order is obedience, and justice wears perfume. You pause beside the fishmonger's stall. He's laughing loudly with 2 watchmen. Their boots shine. Their bellies do too. On the ground beside them, a thief is bleeding from the mouth. He stole an onion. They broke 2 of his teeth. No trial, no sermon, just boots. You watch for too long. One guard sees you. You look away, fast, and keep walking. In 100 years, maybe historians will wonder what the governor's name even meant, what laws he signed, what codes he enforced. But today, his word decides who eats, and your place in that world is to deliver bread to those who don't need it. By the time you return to the bakery, the fires in your legs burn hotter than the ovens. You place the empty trays down. No one thanks you. You don't expect it. You slip the coin into the master's box. If it's too little, he'll know. He always knows. And he'll punish the entire bakery. Because power does not correct. It reminds. Later that night, as you wipe crumbs from the counter and the smell of ash lingers in your hair, you catch your reflection in the bakery window. You hardly recognize yourself. You look like someone else's servant, someone else's shadow. And yet, you whisper without meaning to, "One day, maybe they'll remember my name." But even you don't believe it. Centuries from now, historians will wonder what his name even meant. But today, his word decides who eats. You haven't spoken all day, not a word, not to the master, not to the other apprentice, not even to yourself. Words feel too big now, like shoes you can't afford. The only language you understand anymore is motion, lift, knead, sweep, burn, bow. And even that is wearing thin. The bakery sleeps, but you don't. It's not night yet, but the light is dying. London never gets truly dark, not with 100 chimneys painting the sky in smoke and flicker. But it never gets truly light either. Just a permanent grayish blur, like the city itself is stuck in the moment before a storm. You sit beside the oven, the stones still warm. The fire inside has faded to a quiet pulse. Everything's quiet now. Too quiet. Your hands lie limp in your lap, burned, scarred, dry. You try to stretch your fingers and your skin splits at the knuckles. A thin line of blood appears. You don't flinch. You don't clean it. You just stare at it. It's not pain that unsettles you. It's that you don't care. You used to care. About wounds, about dirt, about the way your voice sounded when you prayed. But now it's just you and the slow undoing of whatever life was before this. You lean back against the flour sacks. They smell sour. Everything smells sour here. Damp wood, old sweat, smoked bread, the sick sweet rot of rats hiding behind barrels. You breathe through your mouth, but that's worse. So you stop breathing for a little while. The ceiling groans above you. The master is asleep, or pretending to be. The other apprentice snores softly in the dark corner, curled around the mop like it's a child. You watch the shadows stretch across the floor. They move like fingers, like ropes, like reminders. You haven't eaten properly in 2 days. The last full meal was a crust of rye bread soaked in sour broth. It tasted like dishwater and rust, but it was warm, and it was yours. Tonight there was nothing. They said there'd be food tomorrow, but tomorrow is always a lie. You don't even feel hungry anymore. Your stomach learned to be quiet before your mouth did. You close your eyes, just for a moment, and the thought comes again, the one you've buried over and over, each time a little deeper. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe the gods made a mistake. You open your eyes fast, as if you've said it aloud, but no one reacts, not even the fire. You try to remember your mother's voice, the lullabies, the way she'd hum when hanging wet linens, the way she called your name when it was time to come in from the field. But your memory betrays you. You can't remember the tune, or her hands, or your name, not the name London calls you, the one the master grunts from the stairs, but the one whispered in a kitchen filled with light, back when you still believed in things. It's fading. You grip your knees tight just to feel something. The window glows faintly with orange light. You want to believe it's the sunset, but something in your gut says otherwise. You stand, move to the window, and there, across the rooftops, far to the east, you see it, a flicker, not the golden kiss of dusk, not the soft lanterns of a pub. Number this glow is angry. It breathes, it crawls, it devours. A fire, somewhere, not close, but not far enough. You freeze, then slowly sink back down onto the floor. You don't tell the others. What would you say? I saw it, it's coming. They wouldn't listen. Or worse, they'd say, good, because fire, at least, is honest. You sit in silence. Hours pass, or maybe minutes. Time here has no edge. The shadows stretch longer. The warmth from the oven fades. Even the rats have gone still. And in that stillness, you finally hear your own breath. It's shaky, like it forgot how to exist. You pick up a lump of hardened dough from under the bench. You press it between your fingers. It crumbles. So do you. Not loudly, not with drama, not with tears, just quietly. You fold inwards, like paper soaked in water, like bread left too long in the heat. You look at your hands again. Your fingernails are rimmed in soot. Your wrists are bruised. Your palms are split. And somehow, in all of that, you find a truth. This is not living. This is serving the fire long before it ever touches you. You remember the baker's wife again. How she said, "You are not just a servant. You are the offering." At first you thought it was metaphor. Now you understand. She meant it literally. And yet, you stay seated. You don't run. Because where would you go? There's no village left, no ship, no miracle waiting beyond the rooftops. Only more smoke, more silence, more sky that never clears. And yet, despite everything, despite the hunger, the blood, the soundlessness of your soul, you are still here. Your breath returns, slowly, one inhale, one exhale, like stitching a wound that doesn't want to close. You speak one word aloud, unsure why. Please, not to God, not to the fire, not even to yourself, just into the dark. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Maybe the gods made a mistake. But you keep working, because if they didn't, then maybe surviving this, all of this, is the reason you're still breathing, even if no one ever knows your name. There is a line in the ash. You are standing on it, 1 foot in silence, 1 foot in flame. And you know, once you cross it, there is no going back. It begins the same as every evening, a low haze over the rooftops, the scent of wood smoke clinging to the city like a second skin, the whisper of footsteps on cobblestone, the oven in the bakery still hot from the day's last loaves. But something is wrong tonight. The smoke is heavier, bitterer. It sinks instead of rising. And the air is too warm. It presses against your chest like a hand. You glance outside. At first you think your eyes are playing tricks, but then you see it again. Beyond the alley, past the slanting roofs, a glow. Not firelight in a hearth, not lanterns swinging in the street. This glow moves, it ripples, it eats. The fire is no longer a rumor. It's no longer across the river. It's here. A bell tolls, then another. Not the steady song of the church, but the broken, desperate rhythm of warning. The master storms down the stairs, red-faced and sweating. What's that racket? His wife follows, carrying a lockbox filled with coins. They're saying pudding lane's alight, she cries. The wind's turning west. The apprentice scrambles for the back door, knocking over a stack of wooden trays. Outside, people are shouting, running, children half-dressed, men barefoot, women dragging sacks of potatoes, linen, anything they can carry. You move to the doorway. The air smells like tallow and burned feathers. You take one breath and choke. It's in your mouth, your eyes, your throat. Smoke, real, wet, violent. This is not the hearth. This is hunger with teeth. You turn to the master. His face is pale now, but not from fear, from anger. He points at the ovens. We don't leave, he snaps. The bread must finish proofing. You blink. You think he's joking, but his eyes are wild. The shop is insured, he adds. If we keep it lit, we can claim double, loaves and losses. He looks at you. Stoke the fire. Something inside you stills. All day, you've obeyed. All week, all month. Ever since you arrived in this choking city. You've scrubbed the soot from his walls. You've bled into the dough. You've swallowed your voice 1,000 times. But not now. Not with this heat rising through the floor. Not with screams on the street. Not with the sky turning red. You say it softly, almost by accident. The fire's coming. The room falls still. The master laughs. We'll survive. We always do. The fire won't reach us. He takes a step forward. His voice drops. Now do your job. You don't move. And in that tiny refusal, something ancient breaks open. You speak again, louder. I won't die for bread. His face twists. He lifts a hand like he means to strike you. The apprentice gasps, but before the blow lands, he stops. The master stares at you like he's seeing something he's never seen before. A servant who said no. The room is thick with silence. The kind of silence that breaks things. You set down the rag in your hand. Pick up your satchel from under the bench. It holds almost nothing. Some crumbs, a bent spoon, your mother's cloth scrap. You walk to the door and pause, because once you leave, you aren't just walking out of a bakery. You're walking out of obedience. Outside, chaos. A woman trips, dragging her father's chair down the lane. A chimney collapses in the distance. The sky pulses with orange light. Ash is falling now, like snow. You look back one last time. The master is still there, still waiting for you to turn around, still believing he holds your leash. But tonight, he holds nothing. You run, not fast. Your legs ache from kneading and lifting all week. Your lungs are heavy. Your hands shake. But you run, not away from fire, not towards safety, but towards something you didn't know you were missing. Yourself. In the street, everything is unraveling. A butcher screams that his pigs are still in the cellar. A constable throws a bucket at a wall already crumbling. Two boys fight over a sack of coal. A horse bolts, carriage half burning behind it. You dodge between carts, hands, smoke. You don't have a plan, just motion. Then a hand grabs your sleeve. You spin. It's a girl from the chapel. You recognize her eyes. She's crying, coughing, dragging a small child behind her. Mom's inside, she pleads. Won't move, won't leave. You hesitate, but only for a second. You follow her into the alley. The door is barely hanging on its hinges. Inside, darkness. You crawl over broken chairs, pots, shelves. You find the woman, slumped in a corner, mumbling prayers. You lift her. Your back screams. The fire outside is brighter now. You don't think. You move. You carry her out. Place her gently on the stones. The girl weeps. The child hugs your leg. You say nothing. Just nod. Then run again. Everywhere, the city is breaking. The wind has turned. The flames ride it like wild horses. You pass a man throwing his coins into a well, a nun lighting her last candle, a thief dragging a trunk too heavy to carry, and still you move. Somewhere behind you the bakery moans, then collapses. You hear the oven explode, the roof cave in, the scream swallowed by the roar. You don't stop, because this isn't just escape. This is rebirth. You aren't the servant. You aren't the silence. You aren't the offering. Not anymore. What happens next will follow you into legend or oblivion. And for the first time, you don't fear either. The fire hasn't stopped. It won't. It moves like a thing alive, a god with no name and no mercy. You walk through its aftermath. Not ruins, not yet. Negotiations. Because in this London, when the world burns, everything becomes a transaction. The first man you meet is shouting, 2 pennies for a drop of vinegar. You pause. He's standing in the middle of a square, holding a small glass jar. Smoke-blackened shirt, barefoot, his beard still smoldering at the tips. Put it on your tongue or your skin, he says. Stops the heat, helps the lungs. He's not wrong, but vinegar isn't worth 2 pennies. Not yesterday. Today it is. You don't buy it. You have no pennies. Just a half loaf of crust, stolen from a windowsill as you fled the bakery. Everywhere around you, haggling, bartering. The market didn't die in the fire. It adapted. A woman trades her husband's boots for a bucket of water. A boy swaps his grandmother's rosary for a handful of dried peas. 2 men nearly fight over a wet sponge. Someone offers their body in exchange for a wheelbarrow, and no one looks surprised. You clutch your satchel. It holds almost nothing. Your bent spoon, a square of cloth from your mother's apron, a heel of burnt bread. Each item now holds value, not emotional, practical. The spoon could be traded for bandage cloth. The cloth used as kindling. The bread, life, or leverage. You see a man trading water from a broken cistern. The line for him stretches down the alley. At the front, a priest offering his gold cross. The man refuses, says he wants shoes instead. You don't ask questions. You just keep walking, past what was once a bakery, not yours. Another. Its sign dangles by a single nail. The ovens have cracked open like tombs. There's a man digging in the rubble. You ask him what he's looking for. He says, salt. You ask why. He says, burned bread's still food, if you kill the bitterness. Later, you stop in a square where dozens have gathered. Some are wounded. Some are just tired. In the middle, an old woman ladles thin broth from a blackened pot. She doesn't ask for payment. She asks for names. If you give her one, she gives you a bowl. You lie. Say your name is Tom. Or maybe Will. She nods. hands you a bowl. The broth tastes like shoe leather boiled with tears. It is by far the best thing you've eaten in days. Behind her, a man is selling nails. Just nails. 5 copper coins for 3 of them. You stare. You thought it would be different, not better, but at least cleaner. At least something you could survive with a little strength, a little courage. You thought this fire would feel like the stories. Men carrying women over thresholds. Families hugging in the smoke. A great disaster that pulled strangers into brotherhood. That's what they'll say later. But you're here now, and you know the truth. This isn't legend. This is rot. The fire is still eating its way across the city. But now, so is hunger. So is despair. And you're not a hero. You're not even a witness. You are the consequence. You walk past a printing shop that burned in the night. Charred wood. Ash-blown paper drifting like dead feathers. One sheet flutters against your foot. You pick it up. It's a page from a sermon. London will be cleansed by holy flame. You crush it in your hand. Because this isn't cleansing. It's corruption. A woman lies in the street, curled around an empty bucket. People step over her. Someone says she's dead. Someone else checks. Says no, just sleeping. No one stays to be sure. A man screams about God's punishment. He's shirtless, wrapped in a curtain. He throws apples at a wall and demands repentance. A child picks up the apple cores behind him, not because she's devout, but because she's starving. The myth said the fire was fast, a wall of flame. But real fire is slower, crueler. It creeps. It eats door frames and sighs through floorboards. It waits. And you? You sit with others in the shell of a church, now blackened and roofless. The priest is gone. The altar is broken. Someone's roasting potatoes on a candle stub. A dog sleeps near the ashes of the confession box. You cough again. Your lungs hurt in places you didn't know existed. Your eyes stay red, even after you cry. If you cry, you overhear people talking. They say it was a papist plot. No, it was lightning. The Dutch did it. God did it. We did it. No one agrees, but they all say something, because the silence is worse than the lies. You sit with a woman who used to work in the kitchen of a manor. She says, "I thought someone would come for us." She laughs, then coughs, then stares at the fire. "They never do," she adds. You don't ask who they are, because you already know. You watch a man try to dig through a pile of bricks. His house collapsed. His wife was inside. He digs with his bare hands. The skin splits. He keeps digging. You sit nearby for a while. You don't help. You're too tired. But you stay. That counts for something. You sleep in alleys now. Church steps. Carts. Once in the hollow of a burned-out barrel. You keep your bread in your sock. Your water in a cracked jar. You keep your back against the wall, always, because some people here are hungry for more than food. And still, in the distance, you hear them, the rich. Their homes didn't burn, or if they did, they already had carriages, guards, keys to houses on hills where the fire won't reach. They say, "We're all in this together," but you haven't seen them since Sunday. A man tells you the king is watching. He says the king came down from his palace to see the fire with his own eyes. You don't believe him. But even if it's true, what does the king see? Not you. Not the child with no shoes and ashes on her lips. Not the woman trading a kiss for a cup of water. Not the priest sleeping in his own pew. You're still here, but the version of you who arrived in London. He isn't. You don't know when he vanished. Maybe in the bakery, maybe in the alley, maybe the first time you chose not to help someone because you needed your legs to survive. You don't even hate yourself for it, because hate takes energy, and you have none left. The stories won't mention you. They won't say, one boy shared his crust with a stranger. One girl carried her sister through smoke. One apprentice said no. They'll say, London burned. The fire was great. The people were brave. And maybe some of them were. But bravery isn't what it looks like in paintings. It's not clean. It's not shiny. It's waking up covered in soot and still choosing to walk. You are not just a warrior. You are the consequence. That phrase comes back to you. You didn't ask for this. You didn't start the fire, but you live in it now. You breathe it, and that makes you part of the cost. There's no glory in this, only heat and hunger and hours that feel like centuries. But you keep going. You patch your shoes with cloth. You trade a button for an apple core. You whisper names you don't remember to people who've forgotten theirs. You walk and walk and walk. And someday, long after this, when the ashes cool, someone will write a book. A painting will hang in a hall. A tour guide will say, London survived. But you will remember the taste of boiled rat. The weight of silence on the second night. The way no one ever came back for the ones in the cellar. And maybe you'll say nothing at all, because some stories shouldn't be made noble. They should stay true. You wake up choking. Again, the night was quiet, too quiet, and now the smoke is back, thicker than before. It's not drifting anymore. It's pressing. It doesn't ask permission. It takes the breath straight from your lungs. You cough into your shirt. Your tongue tastes like copper. Your chest rattles like loose nails in a drawer. You roll over. You were sleeping in the corner of an abandoned tailor shop. Someone else is already gone. They must have fled before dawn. You're alone again. Just you and the heat. You pull yourself to your feet. The light coming through the cracked window isn't morning. It's fire glow. The buildings across the street are alight. The third floor of the apothecary collapses in a shriek of burning timber and screaming pigeons. You don't move. You're too used to it now. You stand in the silence after the sound, blinking as embers drift across the street like falling stars. Your hands ache. Your skin is red, blistered, dusted in ash. Your shirt is torn. Your knees are bruised from nights sleeping on stone and days crawling through alleys. But your eyes are sharper than they've ever been. They know how to see now. They know what's worth saving and what's already lost. You step outside. Everything is orange and black. You watch the rooftops shudder. You watch smoke twist itself into snakes and vanish into the wind. You watch people flee with wheelbarrows of soaked books and chickens in sacks. There is no panic anymore, only motion, because fear burned out 2 nights ago. What's left is purpose. You pass the church. What's left of it? The bell tower collapsed this morning. The cross lies in the street like a broken finger. Inside, they're using pews as firewood. There are no sermons now, just shivering. A boy plays with bones in the corner. A woman nurses a child that might not be hers. You stop. You hand the boy your last piece of bread. He doesn't look at you. He just eats. And maybe that's grace. You walk on. There's no direction now, just instinct. You've stopped asking where to go. The city decides that for you. In an alley behind what used to be a tavern, you find a man trapped under a fallen beam. His mouth moves, but no sound comes. You crouch beside him. You try to lift the beam, but it doesn't move. You call for help. No one comes. You try again. Nothing. You meet his eyes, and for one long moment, you just sit with him. He nods. You nod back. Then you leave. You don't cry, because crying takes water, and you need to save yours. Hours pass, or maybe minutes. Time here has no meaning. The fire doesn't sleep, so you don't either. You help carry a woman across a courtyard filled with shattered glass. You hand someone your cloth to bind a wound. You light someone's torch with yours. No one asks names. No one says thank you. That would make it feel too real. Later, by the river, you see them, the ones who made it. Dozens of families. Wet tents made from tablecloths. Children eating ash-covered potatoes. Men standing guard with sharpened sticks like they're kings of dust. You find a space on the edge of their circle. No one tells you to leave, but no one invites you either. And that's fine. You sit. You listen. The fire's still roaring on the other side of the city. But it's quieter now. Not because it's smaller, because you've stopped flinching. And then a voice behind you. Low, tired, kind. You from the bakery? You turn. It's the girl from earlier, the one whose mother you carried. She sits beside you without asking. She offers a piece of scorched apple wrapped in a handkerchief. You take it. She doesn't say thank you. You don't say you're welcome. But something in the silence feels whole. Together you watch the fire from a distance. The sky is the color of bruised gold. The air hums like a furnace. Someone behind you hums an old hymn off key, and you finally breathe. Not because it's safe, but because you've accepted the danger. You look at your hands. They're no longer the hands of a servant. They're the hands of someone who endured. They've saved lives, stolen food, held burning beams, let go of things they loved. You flex your fingers. The pain is real, but so is the strength. This day will echo through time. You remember the phrase. You didn't know what it meant before. You do now, because this day will never leave you. It's in the soot on your skin, in the silence behind your eyes, in the footsteps you take tomorrow and the ones you won't. This day took your name, your past, your comfort, but it gave you something else. Truth. You rise. The fire's still burning. The wind is changing again. The city's fate is not yet sealed, but you know who you are now. Not just the apprentice, not just the survivor, not just the witness. You are the part of the story that doesn't get written. The one that stays in the smoke. The one that echoes in footsteps. The one that remembers everything. The fire is quieter now, not gone, never gone, but distant, like thunder rolling somewhere behind the hills. And for the first time in days, the night belongs to you. You're lying in a patch of dry earth beneath a broken wagon. Above you, stars, faint, behind ash haze. Below you, warm stone, still holding heat from the flames. The smoke is thinned. The coughing has stopped. The sky is not black, but gray gold, soft as candle wax. You can breathe again. Almost. You don't remember when you last slept with both eyes closed. Tonight, maybe you will, or maybe not, because in a city like this, even silence sounds like something's coming, but you're too tired to fear it, too tired to do anything but lie still and feel your body remember itself. Around you, the fire's refugees settle into the dust. No tents, no songs, just small arrangements of limbs and cloth and trust. A mother wraps her children in a curtain from a burning house. An old man mutters scripture to the rhythm of his heartbeat. A boy sharpens a stick for no reason but control, and near the corner of the square, someone, maybe a midwife, cleans a wound in flickering torchlight. No one speaks loudly. No one prays out loud anymore, but there is a shared quiet. Not peace, not yet, but something that might become it. You close your eyes, just for a moment, and memories fall in, uninvited. The bakery, the red sky, the man under the beam, the girl with the apple, the screaming, the silence after, the stone floor that held you when you couldn't move. You don't want to remember it all, but you owe it to yourself, because memory is a map, and sleep is the first step back home. A breeze moves over you. It's cool, not the furnace wind of 2 days ago. This one feels human, kind. It brushes ash off your forehead, lifts your hair, smells faintly of something you forgot. Water, real water. You hear someone humming, a lullaby maybe, or just a tune without words. It rises and falls with the rhythm of survival. You let it fold over you. And for the first time in a long time, you feel weightless. Not because your burdens are gone, but because tonight they are not chasing you. You roll onto your side. The stars above you look different, like they've moved, like they're listening. You wonder if they always look like this, or if they only appear when everything else is burned away. Somewhere nearby, a child is telling a story. She whispers it into her brother's ear. The fire was a monster, she says, and we were mice. But mice know how to hide. Her voice is thin but steady. The boy falls asleep before she finishes, and the girl keeps whispering just to hear herself survive. You remember the words that followed you all this way. You are not just a servant. You are the offering. They used to haunt you. Now they feel different. Not heavy, just true. You were the offering. To the fire, to the fear, to a city that never asked your name. But you weren't consumed. You were changed. You were never just a servant. You were the story. That line returns, not as prophecy, not even as truth, just as comfort, a lullaby for the parts of you that forgot they could sleep. The fire still burns somewhere. It always does. But tonight, it is far, and you are still here, whole enough to feel the ache in your legs, whole enough to miss the sound of your mother's hands washing dishes, whole enough to hope, even if you don't believe it yet. The stars flicker once more, and in that flicker, you see it. Not the end, but a beginning, born from ash, carved by heat, named by silence. You pull your ragged coat tighter, breathe in soot and starlight, and let sleep come. Tomorrow, the bells may ring again. The smoke may return. The roofs may fall. But tonight, you rest. You open your eyes to light, but it's not firelight. Not this time. It's pale, software colorless, the gray of real morning, the kind of light that doesn't ask anything of you, just offers itself, quietly, like a hand resting on your shoulder without speaking. You sit up slowly. Your bones creak like old doors. Your mouth is dry. Your breath is still thick. But the sky above you is whole, and that today feels like a miracle. You stand. You stretch your arms. Your body protests. You listen to it. You survived another night, and not just in your flesh, but in your story. You are still you, though maybe not the same you who walked into London days ago. Around you, the city is quiet, not silent, just held in pause, held in exhaustion, held in memory. Ash coats the cobblestones. Smoke still curls from collapsed roofs. The bells are silent, but people move, not in panic now, but with purpose. To rebuild, to find, to remember. You walk,